there, my name is Christina and I am a busy homeschool mom of 4 kiddos ages 7 and under. And if you're anything like me, you're always looking for ways to save money on your grocery bill or just stay out of the grocery store in general by shopping at home in your own pantry. And so I want to take 5 minutes today to explain just how easy it is to make your own beef or chicken broth and then also can it up using your pressure canner. So here we go. So step 1 is going to depend whether or not you're using raw or already pre-cooked meat. So for example, if I have a rotisserie chicken and my family had that for dinner, but I want to use the carcass to make broth, I'm going to skip this step that I'm about to do and I'm going to go to step 2. But if I'm using raw meat, what I want to do is cut up my veggies, and I typically use carrots, onions, celery, and garlic, and I leave the paper on and I don't even skin the carrots, and I throw it into a roasting pan with a preheated oven at 400 degrees and my raw meat, anything that comes with a bone. So for chicken, you can use chicken legs or the backs of a chicken. For my beef today, I'm using a short rib, so it has a lot of meat and a little bone, and that's gonna help me make a dinner for when I'm done making broth. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to roast this in the oven for 20 minutes and then pull it out. Step 2 is that you wanna grab your crock pot and then you wanna put everything you just roasted into your crock pot and fill it to the top with water. Step 3 is now that my crock pot is full of water, I'm gonna add a splash of apple cider vinegar, and that's just gonna help draw all the nutrients from the bones out and into the broth. Now I'm going to cover this and I'm going to put it on low for 12 hours. It's the next day and our next step is to empty our crock pot, and I have my veggies. Those are gonna go to my chickens. I pulled out the meat and that's what I'm gonna use today for dinner. And then here is the broth. Now in order to get a good broth, I have a cheesecloth and a funnel. These are the 2 items I use with a ladle just to get my broth in here. And then I wanna just fill them all the way up to the top, and then I wanna remove the fat. Now that my fat is removed, I am starting to get ready for the canning process. What I need to do is make sure that I have an inch of headspace. You probably have a tool like this. An inch is about right to the shoulder of each of the cans, so that's where I want my broth to be. I'm going to take a clean towel and I'm going to wipe the rims of my jars. And then I'm going to put my tops on. These tops have been cleaned, and I'm going to screw them on just fingertip tight. I don't want to go more than that. So I'm over at my stove and I have my pressure canner here, and the first thing I'm going to do is find this little insert and I'm going to put it in the bottom of my pressure canner. Next, I need to fill my pressure canner with about 3 to 4 inches of water, and I want that water to match the same temperature of what's in my jar. That way I don't risk the glass breaking. And now it's time to put our jars in. I'm just going to make sure they're upright and kind of have some space in between them. Then we're going to put our top on the canner, turn the stove on relatively high, like a medium high, and wait until we see steam come from this little vent right here. Now you can see that there's steam coming up from this vent. We want this to steam for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to move on to the next step. Now it's time to build pressure in my pressure canner. So I'm going to go ahead and put this weight on, and I'm going to move my heat down to about a 2 or 3, so like low, medium, and I'm going to wait until my pressure goes to 10 pounds of pressure. It's going to depend on your altitude, so you want to check, but for my altitude, I want to get to 10 pounds of pressure, and then I want to keep it there. Once it's there, I'm going to pressure can this broth for 20 minutes. So this is the part where I have to keep an eye on everything. All right, so now my pressure canner is at 10 PSI, and that's what I want for my elevation. So the goal now is I'm gonna reduce the heat because I don't want the pressure to keep increasing, and I wanna keep this at 10 PSI for 25 minutes. Okay, so it's been 25 minutes, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn off the heat, and I'm not gonna touch the pressure canner. I'm gonna let it get to 0 PSI on its own, take off the weight, and then open it and take out my jars. Okay, at this point, using this tool and something for your hands to protect it, you can remove the jars from the pressure canner and put a towel down and put the jars on the towel. You don't want the jars on a cold surface because if the hot glass comes into contact with something cold, you could shatter the glass and you'd have really hot product everywhere. So be careful. Now all we have to do is wait a couple hours for these jars to all seal, and then we'll come back for our final step. Alright, so I've let my jars set for a few hours. So what I'm going to do is take the lids off my jars. I'm going to label them with what they are, and then they're ready to go on your pantry shelf. I love canning broth because it usually comes from the scraps of what you have at home, and it saves a ton of money. For example, I looked at here in California how much a quart of organic beef broth is, and it estimates between $5 and $10 per quart. And so here I have $15 that I just made simply from the things I would have used for dinner anyway, plus I got a dinner out of it. So this is a great way to save money and also stay out of the grocery store. See you guys next time.